So maybe you feel like just fading away or just disappearing or just hanging out in the background because you're experiencing a unexpected setback or an unanticipated setback. And yes, it's an attack from the enemy because you feel victory in one area and yet defeated in another area. Paid off one bill, you experience the liberation of being debt free in that area, but all of a sudden you hit with another bill, and you had a mountaintop experience with God, and then you were confronted with valley situations. A setback goes literally in the opposite direction of where you're trying to go. It is opposition, it is tension, it is friction, it's resistance, it's a tug of war, it's an attempt to hinder you, delay, stop, discourage, frustrate, and infuriate you. It is used to intimidate you from moving forward, to try to stop you from being great. It is an attempt to immobilize you, to keep you stagnant and stationary. It's a setback, and it doesn't feel good, and we don't appreciate it, and it was unplanned, and it was unscripted, and we didn't see it coming, and yet God wants to use a setback as a setup, and maybe God wants to use a setback as a comeback. And when something is set, it is deliberate. You deliberately set your clock, you set your radio station, you set reminders in your calendar, you set your bills to come out on a certain day. It is something that we do intentional. But what happens when life hits you and you didn't plan for it, and you got blindsided and sideswiped, and it's a setback, and it messed you up, and it has you all emotional? But maybe today God doesn't want anything to set you back. He wants to propel you into your future, and the only reason why you should remember back is as a testimony as to how far God has brought you from. It's in that place of frustration or even desperation that it's easy to fade away. It's easy to disappear. It's easy to go off in the background. It's easier to isolate, but God never had that in mind for you. He wanted you to know that He'll be with you, and that sometimes you want to know, God, am I where I'm supposed to be? Am I in the place that you want me to be? Is this right for me? And God will remind you that you're right where you're supposed to be, that you are right in place. And so He doesn't want you to shrink. He doesn't want you to dial back. He doesn't want you to play small. He doesn't want you to act like you don't know when really you know. God really wants you to step up and rise up and be who God called you to be. So yes, sometimes it's easier to fade away. Sometimes it's easier to be quiet, but maybe in this season God wants you to speak up. Maybe in this season God wants you to step up. And so maybe it was a setback, but actually it's a setup. I want you to understand today that for every setback, God is setting you up for something great. Don't fade away. Stand up and be exactly who God called you to be today.